Editing either makes or breaks your content. You can either under-edit or over-edit your videos. But realistically, there's no way to teach someone how to edit. Hey guys, my name's Tennille and I'm from Shaw Social. In today's video, I'm going to go through and show you guys how I personally edit these videos that you watch on my YouTube channel. Please do keep in mind, editing is different from person to person, and I may do some things that you do differently and you do things that I do differently. The program I use is Adobe Premiere Pro, and I have for the past 7 or so years. I do want to dabble into DaVinci Resolve, but I haven't had the chance to yet. So for this one, we're going to have to head over to the computer, so let's get into it. Okay, so right now you're looking at where it all starts. We are in my Trello account. As you can see here, this is where I dump all of my video ideas, and then I go ahead and fill out my title, description, and tags. So this is where I start. I get all of this SEO out of the way so I don't have to focus on it once I'm uploading and preparing to publish my video. I then also use my script in here as well, or just some dot points that I'd like to cover in that video as well. As you can see, I've just got a generic intro and a generic outro. Right now, today we're going to be working on the best YouTube gear for beginners, so you will see this video before this one you're watching now. As you can see, I've got all of my SEO worked out. I've already recorded the video and now it just needs to be edited. Perfect. Let's jump into Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay, before we jump into Adobe Premiere Pro, I'd just like to show you how organized I am when it comes to my content creation. So this is my Shaw Social folder here on my hard drive. As you can see, I've got everything broken down into what I need to do and different categories. I've got my thumbnails and then my raw folder. So this is where I save all of my raw recordings as well as my editing files and things like that. I also have a folder called editing, and this is where I keep all of my lower thirds, subscribe buttons, outros, everything that's important to me when it comes to actually compiling a video. Let's jump into my raw folder. As you can see, I've got everything categorized and I actually have it sorted by date. So I know that this was the first video or one of the first videos I last touched, and this is the YouTube video that we're gonna be editing today. So I've already got my raw file here and then my YouTube gear project folder. Let's open up Adobe and get to editing. Welcome to Premiere Pro. This is what it looks like when I open up my own editing station. I've got to the left my project. I've got in the middle my effects controls, essential graphics, and my audio mixer. To the right, of course, is the preview, and then we've got our lovely timeline down the bottom here. So firstly, what I do is I grab my raw video file and I drag it into Premiere Pro. It does its thing down here behind me. Actually, there is a little loading bar that says it's conforming the video. It's just adjusting it so that Premiere Pro can actually play it. Once it's done, I simply grab it and drag it into my sequence. And the first thing I do, as you can see, I've got 2 audio tracks. That's because sometimes I do record my desktop audio and I just keep it there by default. Essentially right now, the timeline is grouped. You need to click on it, right click, unlink, and then we can simply delete that one timeline, bring this one up, select them all, and then link them again. I like to make my audio track a little bit bigger just so it's easier to edit and cut up. And then I go ahead, right click, audio gain, and I turn up my volume by 2 decibels. And then this is essentially what we are left with. So as you can see, I've got a few little dots here on the timeline as well. They're there by default just because I have opened up a previously saved video that I've edited. That's my little intro that I've added, my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then outro. So what I do now is I simply zoom in really close, sometimes even closer. I hit C, which changes my cursor from a cursor to a cut. And then what we're going to do is, as you can see, this is a bunch of silence. I'm going to cut that out of the way and boom, put it down. There's some more silence about here. So I'm going to go through and completely cut this up and get rid of all of the silence within the video. All right, so we just finished cutting up and removing all of that silence that I like to to call dead weight. Just an example of how this actually really improves your videos is I've gone from a 7-minute 54-second video. After I cut out the dead weight, we're left with a 5-minute 20 video, which is what you try to aim for. Get rid of as much as that dead weight as you can to only leave the important parts of the video in there. Second step is you go through and you watch the entire video and remove parts of it that don't fit in. There's always going to be sections of the video that you need to take out or possibly even re-record. So this is where I go ahead and watch it all, and you probably see the video will decrease in time a little bit as well. That's because I'll remove some stuff that just I've rambled or I've stuffed up or a blooper or anything like that. So let's go ahead and start removing some stuff. All right, so I've just gone through and got rid of a few sections that needed to be removed just because they were me stuffing up or just didn't really fit into the flow of the video. So what you need to do now is, of course, you can see I've got my intro for where it says Sure Social. I've got my Facebook, my Twitter and my Instagram, and then I've got my outro. You need to sort of place those so that they play throughout the video, not just lumped together at the start. So before we go ahead and do that, I am going to add a cross dissolve at the front just so it's a fade in, and then at the end I'm going to go ahead and add a fade out. Now what I like to do, so this video is about 5 minutes long. So I'm going to place the middle card at 2 minutes 30. So go ahead and go 2 minutes 30. We're going to go ahead and place my Twitter here. And then at 1 minute, I'm going to go ahead and place my Facebook. Then at 4 minutes, we can place the Instagram. So that just spaces it out correctly, and this is already, and then my Sure Social is already placed in the right spot, as well as my subscribe. All right, so once I've compiled my video, I've cut out everything that I don't need, I've made sure it flows perfectly, all my lower thirds are intact as well, I've added in a fade in and a fade out. I go ahead and start to export the video. So the format that I use is H.264, and I have a preset called YouTube 1080p 60 FPS. So I will just quickly show you guys the settings that I use in my video. So if you need to pause the video, go ahead and do that now. 1920 by 1080, 60 FPS, square pixels at 1, and PAL. Then we move down to encoding. I have it set to high, level 5.1. And then I use VBR 1 pass. My target bitrate is set to 45 and my maximum is set to 90. Moving over to the audio tab, I have it set to MPEG, AAC, 48,000 hertz, stereo, high quality, and 320 kilobits per second for the bitrate, and I just have it set to sample rate. I also have down here use maximum render quality selected as well, and that is pretty much it. Then what I do is I just pretty much click through the video just to make sure it looks okay in the different sort of sections, and then I click Q. Okay, so this opens up the media encoder, and this is where I go ahead and make sure I've got my name for the video set up as well. So it is Best YouTube Gear for Beginners. I have a completed folder, and then I just go ahead and paste the name, save that name, and I hit export. And that is pretty much it. Well guys, that is how I edit my videos using Adobe Premiere Pro. If you found this video super helpful, make sure you leave me a like and hit that subscribe button, guys, as well, so you never miss a future video. Other than that, I'm gonna head off, upload this video for you guys. Have a good one. See ya.